Sign up with my Webull link located in the description below and deposit $100 or more into your brokerage account, and you could have a chance of getting a cash bonus. And basically, how did I make $1,064 trading AVGO call options? So looking at AVGO, so at 1140, looking at AVGO at 1140 on the 30-minute time chart. So this candle right here, so basically as soon as I saw AVGO land on the 20-day moving average, I expected a bounce from the 20-day moving average. That happened. So 7 minutes later at 11:47, so that same candle, I sold out the position, making a gain of $1,064 trading AVGO call options. So the game plan here was basically try to buy call options on AVGO, and the reason for that was because you can see that these previous pre-market candles were basically using the 20-day moving average as support. I used it here, then here, and then basically the candle I got in, the 12 candle, I basically expected a bounce from AVGO, and that basically happened within 7 minutes. So within 7 minutes I made that gain of $1,064 trading AVGO, call options. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to find, like, you're basically trying to use the moving averages as your entry points, and then you're trying to go according to your risk tolerance level. So let's say you're aiming for a 10% gainer. Aim for a 10% gainer, get out the position, move on to the next trade, and do the same thing over and over again. You have to, in a way, master your risk tolerance level. So you have to know where to take your gainers, and you have to know when to cut your losses. So for me personally, right, whenever my position is up either 5 or 10%, okay, take the gain. Well, yeah, take the gain, move on to the next trade, and do the same thing. And if I see that I'm in a trade and it's down 10% and I'm not feeling really confident in the trade, okay, take the loss of 10% or more and move on to the next trade, and basically try to double your percentage gain. So whatever my percentage gain for the next trade is, I'll try to I'll try to recoup that previous loss. So I'll try to recoup that previous loss of 10%. So if I lost 10%, I'm basically gonna double it and try to aim for instead of a 10% gainer, I'll try to aim for a 20% gainer. So basically, I feel like what most people need to learn to do is to master their risk tolerance level. Once you got the hang of it, like your ins and outs, and how to control, I guess, your risk tolerance level, then you can aim for higher percentage targets. So you could aim for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, etc. gainers, and basically you're set. You're set now. Now you're not dabbling here and there and knowing that, okay, was that a good entry point? Should I take my win here, or should I cut my losses here? There's a lot of I guess you could say, like, just, I guess, like, not that very much knowledge to when it's time to take profits off the table. You need to have your game plan set in mind. You need to know when to take your gainers. You need to know when to cut your losses, for example, right? So this 12 candle, right? Basically, as soon as I saw that, okay, it's using the 20-day moving average, right? I'm going to pay attention to the percentage where it says 7%, right? So basically, if it surpasses 5%, or if it reaches 10%, okay, I'll move on. I'll sell out the position and move on to the next trade. But basically, for me, right, it had surpassed the 5% target. And so I was like, okay, I'll take this gain of $1,064 and just move on to the next trade. So that's what I did. You basically have to know when to get in, right? And then when to get out. So also another way that you can know like when to get out. So the first way to to know when to get out is pay attention to where it says 7%. So pay attention to when that number is moving. So if you're aiming for a 10% gainer for the day, try to pay attention when the position, right? Your position is up 10%. If you're aiming for a 20% gainer, pay attention when it's up 20%, and etc. So also pay attention to when your position is down 10%, 20%, etc. Know when to cut your losses. Try to analyze the chart as well. Don't just be like, oh, I think I'm going to take a loss here because I just don't feel like try not to do that. Like be like, oh, I'm just going to cut my loss here. Try to first analyze the chart. So for me, right, I was like, okay, let me see what happens if I buy AVGO call options on the 20-day moving average. If for whatever reason AVGO decides to break the 20-day moving average support, my next entry point to dollar cost average would be once it lands on the 50-day moving average, or when it gets close to like this little support level around 233 or anywhere from 232 or 231. So basically I'll try to aim for any of those targets of support. So I'll try to aim for, okay, if it decides to break the 20-day moving average, I'll try to aim for AVGO more call options. I'll try to buy more call options if it gets close to 232, like that little small support level around 232. And if it decides to break that support level of 232, okay, I'll try to aim to see if it can land on the 50-day moving average. Maybe it could bounce off the 50-day moving average. Another way that you could go around it too is by analyzing the trend of that particular stock that you're trading. So for example, for today, right? So when I saw that, okay, AVGO the moving averages look like this on the chart, that basically means that it's probably gonna be in a continuation towards the uptrend for pretty much the whole day. But just for my safety purpose, or according to my risk tolerance level, according to this day, I'm just gonna take my 5 or 10% gainer, move on to the next trade, relax, observe the market. Maybe I can get into another trade. If I can't get another trade, okay, I'll just wait for tomorrow and get into another different trade. I don't have to trade a lot and then just overwork myself. So basically try to use the 4-hour time chart to analyze if that particular stock that you're trading is either in a bullish trend or in a bearish trend. So try to use the moving averages as your indicators as well. But that's personally me, what I try to do, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it. As always, this is not financial advice. As always, take care and bye.